Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Colorwood for YouTube, joined by my buddy Daniel Culver. Mark cannot make it, but if he happens to make it or come in here, it'll be great. But um, so Freddy versus Jason, the fight of the century, Daniel. Um, this took place. When do you think this movie should have been made? That's my first question to you.
Honestly, I think it probably should have been made in the 80s at some point. Because that's when these two characters were really big. But I
Yeah,
would say like in as far as like where they could fit it, it would make more sense to have made it, before Jason X.
yeah. It's really interesting because we get Jason Goes to Hell, in the 90s, and they tease Freddy versus Jason. I th- I sort of wish we would have got it. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got the movie, and I know you are too. I sort of wish we got it right at 98. Because both, I mean, no one forgot about the characters. You know what I mean? But everybody wanted Kane Hodder and Robert England. And I can't say I didn't either. I mean, I like the guy who played Jason in this movie. He did a great job. But it makes you wonder, like, oh, what if Kane Hodder would have got to play Jason? You know?
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he didn't get to. Um, I have no idea why, but I just think it's crazy. So, have you? I forget if it's a deleted scene or not, but there's like an alternate opening to this movie with the girl who goes skinny dipping. Like she ends up knocking on the cabin door, and the kid flips her off. Did you ever see that part, like the alternate version?
I don't think so.
Or I think it might be a deleted scene. It's one or the other.
I don't think so.
It's funny as hell. Um, but the actual opening to this movie is a girl who goes skinny dipping. She's hollering for her boyfriend Mike, and he doesn't answer because well he's dead. Um, really, this is a dream, and Jason is gonna kill this girl, but here it's Jason is dreaming. His mother appears, and thanks to my buddy Daniel, I always thought this was Betsy Palmer, and no, it is not Betsy Palmer. Um, really good job by the girl who they did get to do this. Actually, it was you and Mark who told me that. So, what did you think of the actress who played Pamela here?
I actually think she did a good job too.
Yeah. What did you think of the dream opening here?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the transition of like the dream world and the real world of this movie. Both versions looked like really dark. Like the night scenes were really dark, and even like we don't get much daytime in this movie, and when we do, it's like it sort of feels sort of I don't know darkish. It's like it looks cloudy almost and gloomy. Um, What's what's your favorite scene in this movie?
My favorite scene, I would say the bathtub scene.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's really weird. They say I actually like the mental institution in this movie. We don't like how they come when we see it, like Westing, um, and it actually looked really nice. Like it looked, I love what how they shot it, and then when they come back to it, and Jason shows up and he like beats down the door and like he starts killing people. He actually he starts the one cop gets electrocuted. The one cop who knew about the Friday the 13th murders. He said it. He said it's a Jason copycat killer. Oh no, this is the real deal. Yeah, they're right. Obviously, I'm jumping around, but there are a lot of good scenes in this movie. I'll tell you what, the one I found most interesting when they're saying about Jason it being a copycat, and then later on when they say no, this is the real deal. This is the real Jason, and you're sort of going like you're thinking back to all the murders because when I watch this movie, I think about back to the murders that happened throughout the movie, and I'm thinking immediately when somebody gets killed, they think it's Freddy, but when you and I get they've never heard of Jason or a lot of the cops haven't. Only like the one cop knew about it. Um, the guy getting folded up in a bed. I never remember Freddy killing anybody that way. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. That's totally a Jason thing.
Yeah, it's like I don't get why the cops in this movie, and I get they were supposed to be. They're really focused on Freddy so much to the point of they don't want no one to remember him. But it's like if you just take 10 seconds and obviously look at the crime scene, yeah, it's not a Freddy MO. It's like it's weird.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree with
sorry. What did you think? Because I like that they get they use the Elm Street thing in the movie, and I like how they start this off with a house party, like this girl's friend invites these other people, and this one guy in the movie, um, he's drinking a flask. I'll tell you what, it made me think of Gabriel Collins in 1841 Parallel Time.
you. Yeah, it actually, it seems like, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but it like seems like such a slasher thing to have. Like a party with these friends.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like you'll usually like in slashers, you'll see certain slashers, you'll see parties be thrown. Like look at the final chapter. There was like a house party thing going on. So you do see that in slasher movies. With this though, one person gets killed. Like the dude gets stabbed in bed by Jason so many times, and then he gets folded up in the bed. Is just funny as hell. I mean, I really the one of the most craziest kills I've seen, or some of the craziest kills I've seen, are in this movie. Um, but just the fact that they have a dude get stabbed, folded up into the bed, is hilarious to me.
Oh, yeah, it's actually interesting. You keep mentioning that scene. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but if that's actually my favorite kill in this movie.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like he just folds him up in half after stabbing him. And I love Jason for it. The one guy who brings the flask to the party, the alcohol in the flask. I like how he's sitting there on the porch, and his dad comes over. He's like, "I gotta talk to you," and he's like, "My best friend just died. Leave me alone." And he goes away. And he says about, "Oh, cops let it slip. It was some guy named Fred," and then he falls asleep. I like how they had the goat on, like just look at him, and then Freddy appears in the street, and then he ends up waking up, and Jason ends up killing him too. But then it's weird how the police spin it. The police spin it as that Trey killed that one kid and his dad, and then killed himself. I'm like, that's an insane spin job.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and they're like, I like how the people are like debating it. They're like, that didn't happen, and they're like, it's like, wow, they're desperate to keep Freddy's name out of anybody's mouth. The one kid who escapes with Will, he knows all about it. Freddy, his brother committed suicide, but it was obviously Freddy's fault. His They've erased all of Freddy's records. They use Hypnocell, which is an experimental drug. Hypnocell was actually mentioned in Dream Warriors. Nancy takes it, so they use that here, which is really interesting, which is cool. And what did you think of them using the Hypnocell in this for their plot?
I actually thought it was, well done.
Yeah. Did you
And it
think
makes
that?
sense too, because sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, it actually makes sense too, because Freddy, uses dreams to kill people.
Yeah. What I found interesting is they said about that because they were on it. Hypnocell helps you suppress your dreams, and they couldn't like they were the one kid who escaped with Will. He said he couldn't remember what his dreams were anymore. It's like holy shit. If there's a drug that does that to you, that's insane. Um, which is a great plot to have in your story. Um, I really like how the kid who escapes with Will gets killed. His back gets set on fire. He gets his face clawed by Freddy, and it says Freddy's back. Um, I thought that was cool and funny at the same time. Who's your favorite character in this movie?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Who's your favorite character, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually, even though he gets killed, I like the kid who looks like Jay, though he's not Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. I forget his name. He keeps getting high, and then he gets so high like this like Freddy worm comes in and possesses him, and even before that he's funny because he's like that dude in the hockey mask was that goalie was pissed. I'm like that's funny to me.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, and then he's when Freddy possesses him, he like gets all that pink tranquilizer and he fills it in two needles, two vials, and they're like telling him to come on. They don't realize he's possessed. And Will's like, come on, man, come on. He looks at him and goes, I got this bitch, and it's in Freddy's voice. And even though Jason gets stuck with two tranquilizers, he still cuts the dude in half, which I found funny.
Oh yeah.
This movie is it's a lot of fun. Like fun, the kills are just fun. Like you know what I mean. Like, what did you think of the cornfield party?
I actually, I like that part too.
Yeah, I like how they set Jason on fire in the cornfield. Like Jason, the one girl passes out, and she's dreaming of Freddy, and Jason kills her and this guy who was on top of her. And Freddy's like, "No, she was mine," which is funny. And then they throw the gasoline on Jason kills her and the guy. Then these two guys they're like making fun of Jason, and he takes the one guy's head and he like twists it all the way around, and just like finger pokes the guy down, which is funny. And then the other kid sets sets Jason on fire. Um, a lot of good fire effects in this movie, which I really enjoyed. But I like how they set this is their first time setting Jason on fire in this movie, and I really enjoyed how they did it. They don't do it very long. He does get put out within the party, but I love the fact that they set him on fire. It looked really cool.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, my favorite character, I would say Will actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I was actually thinking about going for the cheap answer and just saying like Jason, but
I would have took that. I would have took that.
oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah, I could have. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I kind of figured you meant like the other characters.
well, I mean, Jason's a character in the movie, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, I try to look at all the characters, and it's like, oh, which one I thought that I think was interesting and yet funny, and that was a character I thought was funny, and he just wants to like survive. He ends up getting killed though, and he gets possessed and killed, and it's like so he gets both, which is funny to me. During the cornfield party, Jason he's walking through, he's slashing people left and right, he's killing so many high. Jason has never killed this many teenagers before in his life. You
Yes,
know, and I gotta say that it's one of the most coolest totals of just pure death, of just pure murder in a Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
oh yeah, it's true. How did you feel about there being a character named Lori in this?
Yeah, that's something I was just gonna bring up to you. It's weird because to me the character came off like Laurie Strode. I mean, this. I'm not saying the producers were doing that deliberately. I'm not accusing them of anything. Do I think they were doing that to sort of have some fun with Halloween? Sure, they could have did that. But the character is, though she's not a babysitter, has a lot of the same qualities Laurie Strode had.
That's true.
Which is interesting. So, what did you think of them naming the character Laurie?
I actually thought like that's clearly a reference to Halloween.
Yeah.
I think it is, but it is spelled different. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that, but
But yeah, it's actually I thought it was also more like like a tribute to Halloween, but you never know. I could be wrong.
yeah. Well, I mean, could somebody have just named the character Lori and not been thinking? Sure. When we sometimes when you name a character, you'll pick a name and then you'll find out that name exists, and then it's like, or do I think they were basing it off her character? No, but I do think a lot of things from a characteristic standpoint of Laurie Strode, I see in the Laurie character from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. Or, well, sorry, from Jason versus Freddy. I do again now in the televised version of Halloween, they do use the Kruger. They do use this house uh, from an inside standpoint. So, are you there?
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. Um, which I find really interesting, But with this, let me ask you this: what did you think of Will just getting committed to Weston for pretty much to help cover that way? It would cover up Freddy murdering Lori's mother.
Um, I thought it was bad because he wasn't really crazy. That I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Lori's dad is a really weird character in this movie. Um, he's not good, but I wouldn't classify him as evil, but he's not a great person.
That's true.
He's just a character that's got too much power. Um, so the fight that this movie was hyped, the fight was hyped. Jason versus Freddy. Do you think it lived up to the expectation?
Honestly, no, I I don't.
Why not?
It just could have been better. And also, and I know I've probably mentioned this in my review already, but I hate like how Jason's afraid of water. When we know he's been in water before, and it's weird because they could have done this better. Like they could have like gave him a reason to be afraid of water. Like maybe Freddy reminded him that he drowned, but no, he just sees water and he's afraid of it. But and it's weird because this movie had multiple scripts.
Yeah, it is. That is the weirdest part of this movie. Because we've never seen Jason actually be afraid of water. Uh, he goes in water. He'll stay there for periods of time. Um, so uh, I think it's really weird that they did this. Had him afraid of water. I'm with you, and especially in the dream sequence. I get there. Freddy's been talking about fear, and he now this is his sort of turn to, oh, Jason's afraid of water. It's like, well, wait a second. I've never really seen Jason be afraid of water in a sense, other than Jason Takes Manhattan, where he saw that, but that wasn't water; it was toxic ooze.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, water with toxic ooze. Sorry, it just it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I feel they could have done better with the fight.
Yeah, I think the water sequence sort of there's parts I like about the fight sequence. I like how they have Freddy take the machete to Jason's back, sort of giving an homage to the final chapter to Tommy Jarvis, which I found interesting. I didn't think they were going to do that. Um, I really liked all the bumps Freddy Krueger took. Jason throwing him around. Just a, I think the fight overall is really, really good and it holds up. I will say the water thing. I'm with you. It's just like really, you know, um, it's just crazy. What would you have done differently?
Um, Honestly, as far as that water thing goes, I would like instead give like an explanation on why. Like maybe like somehow Freddy reminds him that he drowned, and he's like, like, oh shit, maybe I should be afraid of water or something like that. Well, I know Jason doesn't talk, but maybe he'll go have that mindset.
Yeah. I do think, like, I get what they were going for. Like, we both get what they were going for. Okay, yeah, Freddy's weakness is fire. Freddy died by fire. The Nancy in the first movie set him on fire. And by the end of the movie, he is back to normal. I do think they're wanting a weakness. They're sort of wanting how every superhero has a weakness. Well, we have to make these two badass supervillains have a weakness so the humans can overcome them. That's my takeaway from it. That that way the humans could use it against them. Really, to me, the humans don't use water against Jason. Freddy does, but
That's true.
they do use fire against Freddy, which I like.
Now I did like the part where, like Jason's drowning in the dream, and they don't want to give him CPR for obvious reasons.
Yeah, somebody needed to have the line. Looks don't mean a damn thing.
That's true.
Oh my god, what a just a crazy movie. What's something that shocked you in this movie? Is there something that shocked you?
Um, this is probably gonna. It's probably not exactly what you're asking, but I was actually shocked to see Kelly from Destiny's Child in this because it's kind of well when I watch it again as an adult, it's kind of funny because she's one of those singers you kind of forget about, but then I saw her in this movie. I was like, wait, she's in this, and that explains like some of the promo, some of the stuff she did around that time.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is pretty shocking. I think what shocked me most is that, because again, the fact that how what shocked me most is how far the town went to actually forget Freddy.
Oh yeah, I agree with that too.
And
I
that one was shocking. God, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I actually would say that the ending is shocking too, because you don't really, you don't really expect him to survive. I know he's holding. I know, obviously Freddy's a demon, but this was like, this kind of seemed like it was built up where one of them was gonna, win. And also, like I said before, like people kept saying Freddy won. I don't know where people got that from.
um, I think a lot of people just have to have fun with it to say, "Oh, Freddy won, Jason won." You know what I mean? Um, but it's like, oh, that's cool. Um, I find it like how to put this. It shocked. I said it shocked me how far the town went. It shocked me because when they go to the library and they start reading all the deaths that happened, and he says about his brother's suicide isn't even there in there. And it's like, damn, um, they really cleaned house on making sure nobody was going to remember Freddy.
Yeah, that's true. And
Um,
it makes sense that they try to cover it up, considering how Freddy is.
yeah, I mean, he's a character who enters your dream, and so they have to find a way to make people forget. And he actually complains about that in one of the scenes, or a couple of the scenes actually. Um, which is it's like, oh, okay. Um, I will say that another thing that shocked me is the definitely the well, let's give Jason mouth to mouth. I thought was funny. You know,
Yeah, it
like
was.
oh, they're gonna give Jason about the battle, and it's like, oh shit. You know, but
You know, this might sound like a far-fetched question, but with how, like they try to cover up Freddy because he can join your dreams. Do you think that could actually mean that? Well, do you think it's possible that in this world they actually, like normal people, know about paranormal stuff?
I think so. Well, that's the thing too. Like, they're in this movie specifically, they're so focused on Freddy himself, they don't focus on other entities. I don't believe that way. They know, like, they're well, when I say they focus on Freddy, what I mean is their focus is so on Freddy, like they covered up everything that they ever happened. They pretty much erased that history. They committed anybody who questioned them or their reasons for doing it. And it's like, it's just crazy that they were that focused on Freddy. I get why, but okay, the guy who was the transfer, the cop, he was from the Crystal Lake area. He's the only person who, talks about Jason to the degree of who Jason, like, oh, I think you have a Friday the 13th copycat killer. It's just like, and the cheat, like, he ignores it. Like, no, like, and they play you know, they play the character out by electrocuting him, and it's just like he gets killed by Jason of all people. Um, I just thought that whole ordeal was, again, how intense they were with the focus of it, because they didn't seem to worry about other outside events, paranormal events. You know, at least these people here did not. What did you think?
You know, I could see it either way. Like with that, because another hint that maybe people do know about paranormal stuff in this universe is, as we know, in Jason Goes to Hell, the police blow him up. Well, blow Jason up. So
Yeah,
it makes you wonder, like, how many people know about Jason? How many people know about Freddy? Well, I know, they try to hide him. You know what I mean? Like, so it also makes you wonder, like, if Evil Dead is in the same universe, because the Necronomicon is shown in Jason Goes to Hell. If that could actually be even further proof that maybe paranormal stuff is known, because
yeah,
in if you go by the TV show Ash versus Evil Dead, people actually see Ash's sister come back to life. Well, will become a deadite.
yeah. I think it's really crazy that I would have liked for them to, like, at least acknowledge that there may be another killer on the loose, instead of, because the cops are focused that this is Freddy, and in a sense, Freddy is responsible. He sent Jason, but he's trying to get Jason to spread fear, and that's working. And the my issue with the cops is they're too focused on Freddy and not enough on, well, it might, why are you not getting eyewitness accounts of certain things? Like,
That's a good question.
you know what I mean? Like, when let's say if they would have if the cops would have interviewed them after the cornfield massacre, because they don't get to, and they say, no, that's, if, how do I put this? If they question the people at the cornfield, they're gonna say a guy in a hockey mask killed them people. And they're not wrong. they can't, the kids themselves can't address Freddy because they can't see him, but they can see and feel Jason. So I hope I answered your question in a weird way.
Yeah, it's fine. Actually,
Uh,
I do like how you know Jason, Freddy's plan kind of backfired on him because Jason wouldn't stop killing people.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, too. Like, you're sending another killer to hype you up, and you're controlling his mind by making him think you're his mother. The kids of Elm Street, or sorry, the kids of Elm Street have been very bad, Jason.
Yeah, but also like it's kind of weird because like with the paranormal thing, like I asked, like if people know about paranormal things, it could kind of go either way though, because like we mentioned the stuff, but it's also possible that maybe only certain people know about that stuff too.
Yeah. I think, like, see it, like, when you get into like the Stargate like show, those people know about that stuff, but that's a whole nother franchise. Um, when you get into that, Freddy possesses some kid. Jason has possessed people. Jason goes to hell. Um, so I mean, there's been a lot that goes on with Freddy and Jason. You know, so
That's true.
it's just it, it's a really really crazy movie. So, what did you think of the Crystal Lake setting?
I liked it. What'd you feel about it?
I liked both versions. I liked the daytime dream sequence, and I liked the night shots. Really, really dark, really creepy. It's what it should be. Uh, I, we get a lot of fire in this movie, which I like. Will gets, sorry, no, Will. The one girl who Will likes, when she goes to sleep, she gets woke up by her arm accidentally getting burnt. Which I like. And now Freddy is in the regular world battling Jason. I do think the fight sequence got really good in like right here, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I'd say yeah. It was the part with you're talking about the Camp
Yeah,
Crystal Lake part. I'd say that part of the fight's pretty good.
yeah. Like they do a little homage to the final chapter where Freddy's taking the machete to Jason's back. Um, Jason punches a hole through him and does all this other stuff to him, throws him around. That one kid's death, though, the nerd kid, his death was sad.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Like he gets stabbed, like trying to protect Kelly Rowland's character, and then he just says, "Let me sit here. Let me sit here." I'm thinking, I've seen enough westerns and horror movies to know that this person is dead. You know, uh, it's just that's insane.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Trying to think.
Oh yeah, just giving people a heads up. Kelly does use a word that we don't really use anymore. It's a homophobic slur, but
Yeah,
this came out in 2003.
yeah. You have to cut a promo on Freddy Cougar who cuts promos that are scathing. You know,
Oh yeah, I'm not,
um,
I'm not trying to defend her saying that. I'm just saying, like people gotta remember this came out in 2003. That's why I'm telling people in case they're listening to this and they know
yeah,
and they're warns that that word is said in this movie.
Yeah, it's Kurt. You know, that's just some movies have language in them. You know that, but
That's true. Yeah.
you know, I mean, all movies are all slashers for the most part are rated R. They're gonna have action. It's have action, horror, and just words that aren't Jackayas. It's just that's just the way they're written. But what's what did you think of the score of this movie?
I'd say it's good.
Yeah, it is. I do wish it would have been more of a presence for the movie, but I guess you don't really need that when you have Freddy and Jason on the screen. They're enough of a presence.
That's true.
Uh, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I have no more questions about this movie, man. Is there anything you want to add?
Um, not that I can think of actually. Oh wait, how did you feel about the ending? Unless you might have already answered. I'm sorry if you did.
The ending, really strange.
Yeah, I'd go with really strange too.
And here's why I say strange, and I want your answer to this too. Obviously, Freddy says early on in the movie when Freddy says to Jason, "I want to see what's in your closet," and we see Freddy like open the door, and Jason comes out the water. Now there's no Freddy head, and at the end, Jason's coming out of the water with Freddy's head. And it's like, and then he winks, once his head is thrown in, and it makes you wonder, well, did Freddy get thrown in there on purpose to find out more shit about Jason?
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's actually a good question.
It's like, it's a question I've always asked every time I watch this movie, and I'm thinking, could I see Freddy doing it? Yeah, I could. Do I think he did it? I have no fucking idea. But what did you think about the ending?
Um, I thought it seemed kind of strange, like where he's just holding, while Jason's holding Freddy's head, Freddy winks because it's like,
Mhm.
it kind of leaves it up to interpretation. And like I said, like I said in another video or another conversation we had, like some people think like, that it actually ended with them in the dream world. But that's where it's also interesting because that means that Jason escaped the dream world at one point because Jason X takes place after this.
Yeah, man. I just think no. Freddy gets pulled out of the dream world. Um, eventually by Will's girlfriend, Lori. Um, no relation to Laurie Strode, by the way. Um, oh my god. Just so we've had Freddy versus Jason. What's another big super villain fight you'd like to see, Daniel?
um, um, that's actually a good question. I know a lot of people say Michael Myers versus Jason. I don't know if that would really work though. 'Cause, they're both silent.
Yeah,
Well, I'll go with a pretty unique one. Um, why not Pinhead versus Freddy?
yeah, that would be the. I could see that, you know, um, because I mean, what's Pinhead's fear, But
Oh yeah, it's true.
you know,
Oh wait, that might make it kind of harder, but that might be what's interesting. But I was thinking it's a good idea because they're both like demons.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, like, um, Jason Jason versus Predator obviously is a dream match for me. Um, but for Freddy, um, I don't know. Freddy's already done Jason, so him doing Michael, I think, would be too much. I tell you what would be a really fun one that would just be pure psychotic would be Freddy versus the the Sawyer family and Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre crew. Um, that or I wouldn't mind like Freddy versus the Puppet Masters, like the Puppet Master and the Puppeteers, like the puppets.
Yeah, that'd
Uh,
be pretty cool.
uh, here, yeah, Freddy versus Chucky would be funny.
Yeah, I
They
could see that one too.
there'd be so much swearing in that movie. Oh my god.
Well, if you have the game Mortal Kombat X or XL, which has like all the extra stuff included already, you can actually play as Freddy or the Predator. I mean, sorry, you could play as Jason or the Predator.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
That's awesome. It's that's the thing. Like these verses, a lot of them, it's like you'd like to see him verse this one verse that one. You know what I mean? But who knows if that'll ever happen? That ship might have sailed. We don't know. But yeah, it's what do you give Freddy versus Jason 1 out of 10?
I'd give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a little higher. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5. I enjoy the hell out of it. It's funny.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
glad you enjoyed it.
yeah, it's just it's funny as fuck. Like I spent like the kills are just hilarious. Like like it's just they're funny. I won't say they're over the top. I think the to me the most over the top thing is like the whole like the cornfield thing. I'm like that's just hilarious. Like they're throwing like beer at him.
You know,
Um,
yeah. I wonder if that's why a lot of people, I wonder if a lot of people do just think this movie's funny, and that's why some people like this movie. But I don't want to talk for some people because I know people don't like if you talk for them, which is understandable.
yeah, I will say that with this, it's like it's not yes, it's a horror movie, but it's not exactly scary.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not a movie that's going to scare the pants off you.
But to be fair, Halloween Ends isn't really scary either.
No, I mean, well, not every movie's going to scare you. Like, okay, is every movie going to be scary? No. You know what I mean? But yeah, but that's a great example. You know, there are movies that just aren't scary. But there's other elements in them. Yes, they have horror in them, but they also have a lot of other elements too. And that's Freddy versus Jason. I mean, it's not scary. I think the character who had the best chance to make it scary was the character who escaped with Will, and he sort of somewhat makes it creepy, but then they kill him off.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, well, there goes that character. Oh my god. Oh. Oh man. Well, sorry for all the coughing, my friend.
It's fine.
Just crazy. But yeah, it's just. Do you think we'll ever get another horror villain versus another horror villain, or no?
Honestly, I'm not. I would say probably not because you know if it's between different studios, they might not agree. And
Yeah.
actually, I don't know if you know the quick answer to this, but was this movie successful?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so maybe they will. And maybe I wasn't sure if this was because it seems like a lot of people don't like this movie.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
It's not it's kind you know how people are though, but it's not that bad.
No, it's not a bad movie. It's like it's it's a fun versus like to me like there are disappointing versus movies like Alien versus Predator. The first one was stupid. Requiem was a little better. But the first one is like, what the fuck? Like what the hell happened? And that's like to me, that's the one I was like hoping it would do well, but it didn't do well. Um and then, Freddy versus Jason did really good, and but they never could you remember there was talks in Halloween that they were going to do Pinhead versus Michael.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
What do you? How do you think that would have fared?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Like, it sounds like one of those. It kind of feels to me like it'd be one of those things that would be good in concept, but then
Yeah,
not be executed very well.
I think that would have been like. Could you imagine instead of getting H2O, we get the Pinhead Michael crossover? Like that would have been holy shit.
Was that how long ago that was planned?
I don't know if that's what it was planned for. I do know that Dimension had the rights uh by for Hellraiser by then. So
Oh, oh, that's pretty interesting. You know what's actually interesting is also interesting is you know how people think like Halloween H2O was supposed to be the last one because Laurie decapitated Michael, and of course people say like, Resurrection changed that. There's actually an interview. There's actually a video on YouTube where Jamie Lee Curtis herself says that that was never intended, and she said that there was a contract that said you couldn't kill Michael Myers, and basically they decided to make it like seem like she killed him.
yeah, they've always to me like the sequel for Resurrection is set up in H2O. Um, you know, uh, Keep in mind Halloween H2O is only going off the first two movies. So okay, show me in the first two movies where Michael puts his hands up in the stop formation, like, "Oh, don't hurt me." Um, that's when I like, wait, Michael's never done that. It's like I don't think that's Michael. And when they said it wasn't, I wasn't shocked.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also originally it was going to be a copycat killer. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Um, but what's interesting is I saw someone actually say on um I saw someone actually say that the whole contract that you couldn't kill Michael Myers thing wasn't true, but I literally saw a video where Jamie Lee Curtis said it was. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
it makes you wonder though. Like with Halloween Ends, are they gonna say something stupid like somehow he survived?
Um, I don't think they can. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I don't. That's what's weird though, because it kind of seems like, or is the contract not in place anymore?
Well, here's the thing: if they do another Halloween movie, it's either A, going to be a reboot, or B, they're going to go back to the brother sister connection, or C, they're going to go another direction entirely.
That's true.
They can't. Now, could you go off the Blumhouse trilogy, like the David Gordon Green? I said in a video, and I don't know if you saw it. I'll have to send it to you if you didn't. Where I said, why don't, if they're really serious about doing an anthology, why not take Allison from the Halloween trilogy, and keep having strange events happen on Halloween, and she keeps, no matter how hard she tries, she keeps being sort of pulled to these events. Something keeps pulling her. It's sort of her fate to intervene on these events. Like
Oh yeah, that's a
different,
good idea.
you know what I mean? Like different events. Like it gets into the ideology of fate, but not just with Michael Myers, with bad events that keep happening around Halloween.
Yeah, that actually does sound pretty interesting.
You know, I mean, they could. That's something they could do. You know what I mean? But as far as Michael Myers, well, you gotta either a reboot it, b again, brother sister. That's up to the ball is in their court, as they say. It's their decision.
Yeah, it's true. Now,
That's it.
they could go off Halloween Kills since a lot of people didn't like ends, but honestly, at this point, probably they should probably reboot it. Like, I'm not really a big fan of remakes, to be honest. But let's be real, Michael Myers is getting old up there in age.
Yeah, he's got his AARP card. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
You don't have to be old to get an AARP card. You do know that, right? You really honestly don't need to be old. That's like a misconception that you have to be old to get an AARP card.
how old do you have to be?
You don't have to be old. They said even in the commercial, like young people were getting it because there's like so many benefits.
Oh, young
like,
people. Oh, well.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a misconception there, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry for the misconception, honey. I learn something new every day. Oh my god.
I try to keep you on the up there.
Thank you. I know I'm old. Um, yeah, but I do think that to me, like you're either A, gonna have to reboot it, B, do the 1 through 8, go off the sister connection, whatever you're gonna do there, or either again, could they go the anthology route? Yeah, they could. Could they do a TV series? Yeah, they could. They've got a lot of choices in front of them.
that's true. I wouldn't
So,
mind the TV series thing either.
yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, I think there's a lot to tell from a story standpoint of if you said it about Michael Myers and start telling the story of the town of Haddonfield, but not just the town of Haddonfield, how people outside the town of Haddonfield as well deal with Michael Myers because he's not just killing in Haddonfield. To me,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I mean. He's out there. He's everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
would be a cool idea to do for the show as well. If they did a TV show, they could actually like have Mike show like Michael when he's in the institution. I know people are gonna say Rob Zombie did, but I mean like that's one idea. That one of the better ideas Rob Zombie had.
Yeah, I do think the institution was a great idea, and it still is a great idea to explore because it's something John Carpenter did not really touch upon all too much. It's
That's
it's something a writer could play with.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. And I could also like go into like how Loomis started seeing him become evil. Well, I mean, not become evil, but he starts seeing him as evil.
Yeah, yeah. There's that too. I mean, I think that's just it. I mean, they have a whole lot of possibilities in front of them to play with. We'll see what they do. But until then, uh, my friend, it has been a lot of fun discussing this with you.
I had
Uh,
fun too.
Freddy versus Jason, it was crazy. Um, it's again, yes, this is a horror movie, but no, it's not going to scare you. It's not scary. And by the way, uh, Alien Resurrection, same thing, horror movie, but not scary. Um, just saying. Um, again, that's the thing too. Like there are there are horror elements in a horror movie, but it doesn't mean a horror movie is always going to be scary just because there are horror elements within the scary movie that you're watching. Yeah, most of the time that is the case, that there are actual horror elements where you know you gotta watch, but there are also those one of the most scary things about a movie that when you're watching it is sometimes when the characters in the movie, they're used to hearing noise and then they hear nothing but silence. Sorry about that. But that's all I got. Daniel, my friend, it has been fun. I'm going to leave a link to Daniel's channel in the description box. It's Killenberg. Go subscribe to his channel for horror, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super stuff. Also, again, in horror stuff as well. Follow him on Twitter at Killenberg. He's also on Facebook, Daniel Culver. Hit him up if you've got any questions for him. If you got any questions for me, I'm Joel Sains on Facebook at Collinwood. Well, we will answer them. No questions about that Dragon Ball Z or that Dragon Ball Evolution movie. No. I will not answer those. Will you, my friend?
No. Unless the question is like, how did you like it? And I would say it sucked.
Yeah, that's pretty much one word answers. No. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me.
Yep. Take care, man.
If you too.